Welcome back to First Take. The Browns still have a coaching vacancy after firing Kevin Stefanski. Jesse Minter, Mike McDaniel, and now Grant Udinski have all pulled their name out in Cleveland. However, it appears the Browns have 4 candidates still remaining for their head coaching position, and Nate Scheelhaase, Jim Schwartz, Todd Monken, and Anthony Lynn. But maybe there's a name on the list that should be given a little bit more consideration considering their quarterback room and his coaching experience. That person is Deion Sanders. Should he maybe be added to the list of potential coaching candidates in Cleveland?
I think it comes down to what's the reason you're saying you're bringing Deion Sanders. I think if the sole reason is you feel as though Shedeur Sanders is the quarterback, I don't believe going to get his father to now come over and coach the team is the answer to that. My thing is Shedeur was a late-round draft pick. He got his opportunity to perform last year. He proved that he deserves an opportunity this year to compete to start to be their quarterback. I don't think they're going to just hand the keys over. It's very different from college where in the NIL you go out and you get a quarterback that is going to be your guy. There's not much competition that takes place in the college football game anymore. So I think going to get a head coach that you're saying we're only going to get him specifically because we believe he's the best guy to coach this one player on our team isn't the answer. I think that was the answer in college for Colorado because of so much of what it brings and what Deion Sanders brings. You're talking about ticket sales. You're talking about jobs for the people in the city of Boulder. It put Colorado on the map. In the NFL, you don't need someone to put a team on the map. You need to find out how to win games. That's what translates. Find out on every Sunday how to score more points than your opponent. I think the NFL is moving in a way in which you have to have a head coach that gives you an advantage. One, as a play caller, or whether it's offense or it's defense, or 2, from a game management standpoint. Look at the 2 coaches in the Super Bowl right now. Mike Macdonald, from a defensive play calling standpoint, is a mastermind. Mike Vrabel, you watch him on Sunday as Drake May is running towards the sideline and he slides. He's calling the timeout before his knee even hits the ground. He's substituting guys late on defense while Sean Payton's changing personnel. Those are the advantages that head coaches give you that you need nowadays to be able to win and propel your team to a Super Bowl. So I do think the thought of Deion Sanders reuniting with his son Shedeur is an amazing story. As a father, I see that and it brings tears to my eyes and joy. Like, oh my goodness, I can't believe it. I don't know that that's the best move for the Cleveland Browns as an organization.
Here is the best way to put it. And Deion Sanders, my brother, we go back a long ways. This is the most accurate and fair way to put it.
Yeah.
I hope this happens for him. His resume doesn't warrant it. That is the reality.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why is because, yes, you were 27-6 in leading Jackson State to consecutive SWAC titles and a 21-12 record in 2022. Yes, you had a winning season in Shedeur Sanders last year in Colorado.
9-4, right?
9-4. You have 2 losing seasons, all right? You know, you were like 4-8 or whatever it was the first year there. You were 3-9 last season. Okay, so you've had 2 losing seasons in the 3 years that you were there. This last season, which was your worst, was without your son. When you won, it was with your son. At Jackson State, and then that, you know, those 2 years at Colorado, the 1 year that you had the 9-4 record, you won with them, okay? I believe that Deion Sanders can coach. I think the man knows football. I think he knows how to galvanize folks.
Absolutely.
We all know that he's the greatest cornerback in the history of the sport.
No doubt about it.
We know that his football IQ is top-notch, and he can go out there and compete. You give him equal talent, he can make some things happen. And obviously in the National Football League, you're going to have talent that you don't have at Colorado when you're going up against some monsters in college football. So the talent level is going to elevate. So I have no doubt that if he were an NFL coach, that I believe he would do a good job. But the question is whether or not you deserve it. And it can't always be about you coaching your son. Now, here's the other part that we'd be remiss in neglecting to bring up. If you were to get the Cleveland Browns job, is that why Shedeur Sanders had such a hard time getting an opportunity? Because coaches and people within the organization were sensing that you were the heir apparent, the Kevin Stefanskis of the world and people working under him? Because now you're going to have people having those questions. They're going to accuse him of lurking all along, which is just going to add more pressure to Shedeur Sanders, who's now been named as an alternate as a Pro Bowler. You're going to have all of these questions, all of these suspicions, all of this stuff coming up. Me personally, I have been on the record. Deion, in fairness to him, when we've spoken, he has adamantly disagreed with me. I have always said, I don't want you in Colorado. Deion in Boulder, Colorado. Don't mess with me. I wanted that brother in the SEC. I wanted him at Texas A&M. I wanted him at Florida. I wanted him at someplace like that. Or no, not the SEC with Florida State. I thought Florida State should have hired him. I wanted him someplace like that. Not at Boulder, Colorado. I'm sorry. I just don't see it.
Look what he's done there.
I'm just sorry. I mean, it's hard because, cats gonna want to come to Boulder. Really, you got some people there, but now you're seeing others transferring and stuff like that. I'm just saying, I think he could do the job in the NFL, but you can't look at his resume and say definitively, oh, he absolutely deserves this opportunity. He should get it because, again, you got to coach without your son sometimes. Let's see what happens.
I will say this. I know you mentioned, you don't need to bring eyeballs to the NFL. Of every franchise that could use a little burst in swag or a little positivity, the Browns might be it. And forget the resume really quick, but if nothing else, Deion could bring a little bit of that to Cleveland maybe, and then help us.
There's one sport that doesn't need it is the NFL.
That's
You're going to have some eyeballs.
First year with the Patriots.
He takes his place among the all-time franchise legends as a guy who won it as a player and a head coach, a remarkable achievement if that's what he's going to. I mean, it's already what he's done is already a remarkable achievement, and he's already in the Ring of Honor. But I think he elevates to, this is one of the all-time great Patriots on a different level than most of the Ring of Honor.
Dominique.
Yeah, I think Mike Vrabel definitely elevates if he's able to do it as a coach and as a player, and he's done it in a couple different places. I think this speaks to something that Jeff was talking about in the pre-show meeting, is while we're always looking for these offensive guru geniuses to run our teams, like the defensive guys know what they're doing. They seem to be really stable and effective coaches, and Mike Vrabel is a perfect example of it.
I'm trying to think of people. He would become the first person ever to play and coach the same franchise in a Super Bowl championship. I'm trying to think of others who have won as a player and a coach. Mike Ditka did. Ditka won as a player and as an assistant coach and a head coach. There are probably others. Hemba will put together a list as the week goes on.
Right?
But there are very few people who've done that in football history. Nick, the last one is for you. What if Sam Darnold wins the Super Bowl playing on his 5th team?
Oh, y'all better call up Zach Wilson. Because I think that the Jets know how to draft talented quarterbacks, and you just got to bounce around a little bit. He's a very young quarterback with a lot of arm talent that the Jets drafted, and it didn't work out there. So give him a little time to mature, get cooked up in a couple different places, and sooner or later, he'll be in the Super Bowl too.
And he's what, 2 more teams, right?
He's only on his second team.
So,
he's on his third or second. Did he stop
Dolphins?
Oh, he was in Denver for a year.
So he needs 2 more teams, Nick, and then we're all set and have the Super Bowl party.
Crazier things can happen. Go ahead, Jeff.
Oh, my word. I will say this. I do think it gives, with the Sam Darnold conversation, Dan said it earlier in the show, it makes teams look at these quarterbacks and the way you build organizations differently. And I hope teams do and stop trying to find, the pearl all the time and understand that building around them might be an effective way to build teams and develop teams. Let me tell you what helps every quarterback in the NFL: a great defense, great receiver, right? Like, there are things you can do to help that quarterback without just asking him to walk in and change franchises. It's part of what made Drake May's historic rise, but Sam Darnold's as well. Hopefully organizations will look at this bigger than just one player.
Is Mac Jones going to be the next? I don't know how great he's going to be, but is people going to offer him a bunch of money this offseason?
He'd have to be traded. He's under contract with the 49ers for next year, and I'm sure they're willing to take your call. But what he showed this year should make him very appealing.
Just trying to think of people who went to the Kyle Shanahan reclamation school of reclamation projects at quarterbacks, and it's worked for a lot of people.
Really something.
And maybe he could bring in Zach and
Green Bay,
Malik Willis.
All that.
Malik Willis went through rehab too when he got was in Tennessee, and everyone cast him off. He goes to Green Bay with the Pack. Every time we've seen him play, he's showed up and he's had success.
Daniel Jones did a month and a half in Minnesota and comes out like gangbusters this year in Indy. I mean, go get a tune-up
before the injury. You forget Wilson. That's exactly what it is. Like, these guys got to wind up in the right places.
Gloss over the fact that Jeff Saturday, instead of saying help your quarterback out with O-line, said you got to get defense. I love you, Jeff, man. You come around.
You're wearing off on him,
and you appreciate that D.
You got to run the football. All right.
If I were to say Matthew Stafford is going to make another run to the Super Bowl in his career, would that be an overreaction?
Yes, I would consider that an overreaction. It's very difficult to get as far as the Rams got this year with Matthew Stafford at age 37. He's about to turn 38. Had a tumultuous offseason last year with the contract situation, with the back situation. He really kind of put a lot of stuff in the rearview mirror just to have the year he had and still didn't get there. It's only going to get tougher.
Here's the thing. I would say, look, if he decides he wants to play another season, and my gut feeling is that he does, and Orlovsky, who knows him well, said yesterday that while he hasn't talked to him, he expects him to come back and play another year. It wasn't his side of the ball that let them down, right? I mean, the last 2 months of the season, that defense just fell off a cliff.
Yeah.
They figure something out on that side of the ball. Dominique, I'm not sure they can't come back and be as good as anybody again and make another run at this thing next year.
Yeah, I don't think the talent will be the problem. It's just the fact that Matt Stafford stayed healthy all season, and they had a lot of their players staying healthy all season, and the talent, the teams around them are also going to get better. I think that's the part that makes it difficult, is Matt Stafford is definitely at the end, near the end of his career, and he doesn't have 10 years left to play. So that's the hard part about predicting that they're going to get back, is we know how fickle it can be, and the wrong person gets hurt. They managed to have Devontae Adams come back healthy and contribute, and Puka stay healthy all year long, and the offensive line hold up, and the running attack. Like, all those things have to go right again next year for them to make this run, and it's hard to predict that for any team.
I had a lot of people ask me this week, Jeff, do you, and I'll ask it to you, do you think Matthew Stafford is a lock for the Hall of Fame?
Ooh, lock for the Hall of Fame. I will say he'll go in. I think just from the near or the modern kind of history of what the Rams look like, I think people will kind of put the Detroit stuff behind them. And I think with as well as he's played, and you think even this game that he played, I mean, the guy throws for almost 400 yards, right? So, like, I mean, it wasn't, to your point, his side of the ball. I know they don't make the third and fourth down at the end of the game to ultimately get the win. I think people look at numbers more than anything. So, yeah, I think people will put him in the Hall of Fame.
Lock Hall of Fame?
I think it happens. And I think to what Jeff's point is, you look at the numbers nowadays, Matthew Stafford is going to be in the top 10 of a lot of major passing categories. And I think the fact that he won that Super Bowl, and assuming if he's the MVP winner this year, I think that's the difference maker that puts him in that MVP conversation. But to me, he's right on that borderline of a Hall of Fame guy.
Yeah, agreed. The MVP helps because one of the arguments against a guy like this for the Hall of Fame is, was he ever the best player in the league? Yep. And if you're MVP, you can answer yes. Yep. So, yeah, I think that would be big for him. But I agree that it's borderline. He probably does get in. The narrative seems to have really moved in his direction since he went to the Rams from Detroit. So I think it probably does get in. But I don't think it's a slam dunk.
No, I think he gets in. I agree with you. The MVP is a big part of it. And I think a second Super Bowl would have elevated him to a different room in the Hall of Fame. Graziano, next overreaction.